Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, our economy needs a restart. Under Justin Trudeau, Canada has lagged behind U.S. economic growth in 3 of 4 years. Right now, the American economy is growing 50% faster than ours is. Our unemployment rate is higher than 5 G8 countries. Germany, Russia, Japan, the United States, and the United Kingdom all have significantly lower unemployment rates than does Canada. The only 2 countries in the G8 with higher unemployment than our country are socialists, Japan and Italy, 2 countries whose economic policies the Prime Minister is most trying to emulate. Now, these are not just statistics. This is people's lives. In November, 71,000 Canadians went home and looked their family members in the eye and said, "I lost my job." The month before, 13,100 Canadians went insolvent. That's a 13% increase and a 10-year record. Half of Canadians are $200 away from insolvency. There has been no income growth in Canada since Justin Trudeau took office for the middle class. Remember, the guy who claimed he was in it for the middle class and those working hard to join it has presided over 4 years of 0 median income growth for Canadians. 0. That is after a decade during which median income had risen on average by over $400 per year under the previous Conservative government, with even bigger increases for female members of the workforce. So what do we do about it? With our slowing economy and Canadians falling behind, the cost of living rising, we need a restart. That's why, on behalf of the Conservative official opposition, I am hereby calling on Bill Morneau to present an urgent fall economic update to salvage Canada's teetering economy. That update should include 3 things. 1, major tax cuts for entrepreneurs and workers so that they can spend and invest and get our economy moving again. 2, a plan to free up our entrepreneurs by removing the insane high levels of regulatory red tape that are holding them down. And 3, we need to reassure investors by presenting a reasonable plan to gently phase out the deficit in the medium term. Again, we're calling on the Trudeau government to introduce a fall economic update before Christmas, obviously, in order to take these urgent steps that are necessary to reverse the ongoing decline of our weak economy and protect Canadians and their livelihoods. Merci beaucoup d'être venu aujourd'hui et joyeux Noël. J'allais juste répéter quelques mots en français. Merci d'être venu. Encore joyeux Noël. Notre économie est faible. Maintenant, l'économie des États-Unis croît à un taux 50% plus élevé que le nôtre. Dans 3 des 4 dernières années, les Américains ont augmenté leur économie plus rapidement qu'ici au Canada. Il n'y a aucune augmentation dans les revenus personnels des Canadiens depuis que Justin Trudeau est arrivé en pouvoir. Notre taux de chômage est plus élevé que 5 pays du G8, dont la Russie, le Japon, l'Allemagne, les États-Unis et le Royaume-Uni. Aussi, on a un taux de chômage plus élevé que le G8 le moyen, depuis que Justin Trudeau est arrivé en pouvoir. Mais c'est quoi le coût personnel? Pourquoi ces données impactent les vraies vies de monsieur et madame tout le monde? C'est parce que 71 000 Canadiens ont perdu leur emploi en novembre. En octobre, il y a eu 13 000 Canadiens qui ont entré dans l'insolvabilité. C'est une augmentation de 13 13 Et maintenant, il y a la moitié des Canadiens qui sont 200 $ entre eux et l'insolvabilité. Donc, nous revendiquons en tant que conservateurs et l'opposition officielle que le gouvernement mette en place un énoncé économique urgent afin de contrer le dommage fait à notre économie. Donc, dans cet énoncé, nous revendiquons des grandes réductions d'impôts et de taxes pour les travailleurs et des petites et moyennes entreprises. Deuxièmement, l'élimination de la paperasse qui empêche nos entrepreneurs de créer des emplois et de la richesse. Et troisièmement, un plan pour assurer les investisseurs qu'on peut éliminer graduellement notre déficit national. Nous en avons besoin parce que les Canadiens sont en train de souffrir et notre économie est faible. Donc, il faut que le gouvernement agisse et c'est la raison pour laquelle nous sommes ici aujourd'hui. Merci.
Thank you very much. Now the time for questions, and Colin will bring a microphone to you because we're having a little bit of an audio problem, so that make sure that the translators can hear it. The first question, Olivia Stepanovich, CBC.
Good afternoon. Has anyone approached you about running for leadership?
I have no plans to do that. Thank you.
Are you interested at all?
No.
Is anyone organizing on your behalf?
No.
Are you aware of the website standwithshear.ca?
I am now.
Is there an organized effort that you know of with Shear supporters to counter people who are against the leader?
There is an organized effort to get the government to introduce a fall economic update in order to get our economy going. And that is why I'm here today. Now, others here in the bubble inside Ottawa might be fascinated by the palace intrigue of leadership politics. But if you're one of those 71,000 people who just lost your job in November, you probably couldn't care less. Your focus is on getting another job. And that's why we as Conservatives are talking about the real economic issues that matter to everyday Canadians. And that's what I'm here for.
Joanne Smith, Canadian Press. Joanne, you need the mic so that the interpreters can...
Forgot about that. Hi. There's a vote next week we're expecting on the supplementary estimates. What's your party's plan in terms of whether or not to support the government on it?
This government spending is out of control. I think the increase for the first half of this fiscal year compared to last fiscal year was 9%. I mean, it is gobsmacking that a government would increase spending at 3.5 times the combined rate of inflation and population growth. But that is what they're doing. It is absolutely unsustainable. We know that growing government spending at these irresponsible rates is slowing down our economy. If government spending we're going to stimulate economic growth, we wouldn't be at 1.25% economic growth right now. We'd have a fast-growing economy. We wouldn't be losing 71,000 jobs a month. We wouldn't be well behind our American neighbors in growth. So Conservatives are going to advocate a real agenda to free up our entrepreneurs and workers and create the wealth and jobs and opportunity of the future.
The House, is that a yes or a no?
Well, we'll see what we're voting on.
And you mentioned number 2, part of your plan or things you'd like to see is cutting red tape. That's a really sort of popular thing to call for. What specifically would the Conservatives do to cut red tape for entrepreneurs?
First, we would repeal C-69, C-48, the No New Pipelines bill, and the ban, which also bans the export of Canadian energy from northern British Columbia. Effectively kills off a multi-billion person marketplace for Western energy producers, makes it impossible to build new pipelines and to advance other natural resource projects. We've also believed the government should identify the total number of regulations imposed on Canadian entrepreneurs and make a concerted effort to reduce that number. Our platform included a plan to create a full inventory of all the red tape and then cut that red tape so that businesses can focus on serving customers and hiring workers rather than filling out paperwork for bureaucrats.
Okay. Molly, Thomas, CTV.
You're asking, I guess, for a fiscal update here. We have 5 days to go. We don't even know if the throne speech is going to be voted on before the end of the year. What makes you think that these three things can actually be done? Like, we don't really have that much time.
So the question is whether we have enough time for a fiscal update. You seem to be suggesting that our Prime Minister spent his first 10 days after the election surfing rather than working. I find that suggestion offensive. Of course, if the Prime Minister and his government are all responsible, they would have been working on all of these issues from the day the election was over. Let's remember, the election was in October. They've had plenty of time. The storm clouds of our economy have been gathering overhead for a long time. So if they are this ill-prepared for the trouble that is unfolding, it says something about their ability to govern. You know, the average Canadian wasn't surfing in November. The average Canadian was worried about his or her job. 71,000 of them lost their jobs. And then we got a report that south of the border, they had 250,000 new jobs. So this is a made-in-Canada problem. It requires urgent action, and we're calling on the government to take that action by introducing a fall economic update.
But it's a late ask on your part as well. We didn't hear this conversation right after the election either.
We've been calling on the government to reverse course on its damaging policies nonstop, including before the election. So we're here to work. And I'd be curious to hear Bill Morneau's explanation as to why he hasn't been able to introduce a fall economic update. You seem to be defending that decision on behalf of the government. You're saying it's too late for them now. When was the last time they didn't introduce a fall economic update? You know, they seem to be completely ill-prepared for the economic troubles that are now besieging our economy and hitting Canadians in their pocketbook and with pink slips. We are prepared, and that's why we're calling on the government to get back to work, restart the economy, and introduce a fall economic update.
Let me switch gears and ask you a little bit about China. We have Michael Kovrig and Spavor that are going to be in jail here for a year now in China this week. You guys have put a few motions of notice on board for China. What exactly do the Conservatives want done here?
Well, we need to return to professional diplomacy. We have a Prime Minister who said that when asked what his favorite country in the world was to emulate, he said he admired the basic Chinese dictatorship. We have a Foreign Minister who says that China's justice system is a rules-based system. They've gone through 3 ambassadors in less than that number of years. They had an ambassador who was effectively towing the PRC's party line, whom they've had to remove from his position. So we need to return to serious, professional, tough, clear-eyed diplomacy to free the 2 Michaels from their unjust captivity and to end the Chinese government's attack on the Canadian economy with the periodic application of tariffs. And finally, we need to protect our own security by banning Huawei from Canada's 5G network to ensure that the PRC does not have the ability to engage in espionage on Canadians or our government.
And, sorry, did you also, I think I saw something about a committee that you wanted formed. Am I wrong about that? Maybe just to
We are
considering,
we have a motion on the order paper that we may advance that would allow all parties to come together and form a committee that would study the urgent problems we have with China on trade, on Huawei, and on, of course, the 2 Michaels who are unjustly imprisoned there.
Elise Von Shields, CBC News.
Hi. So the House isn't going to sit for too much longer before the Christmas break. We have another week. So your expectation is that Bill Morneau would deliver this before next Friday when the House rises?
I presume he's got it already written. If he's competent, he's got it already written. But that is not a safe assumption. We're prepared to work through the Christmas break if necessary. You know, when you've got 71,000 people who've lost their jobs, when you have half of the country $200 away from insolvency, when you have insolvency rates reaching 10-year highs, you need to work. And I'm sorry if the Liberals have vacation plans, cancel them. Introduce a fall economic update that will allow Canadians to keep their jobs and grow their incomes. It's an urgent problem, and it has to be solved.
And just switching gears a little bit, beyond what your party's been talking about in the couple of days that we've had back since the election in Parliament, what do you think your party needs to do over the coming months to show Canadians that you're in a position and in good shape to take on the Liberals whenever the next election's called?
We need to provide a professional opposition that's focused on the aspirations of everyday Canadians. People want to get ahead. They're willing to work hard to do so. They want to take risks by starting small businesses in their community. We want to be the party of that aspirational middle class. We're presenting real and tangible ideas that will allow people to make progress in their lives, to get government off their back and out of their way and by their side. That's the kind of opposition we need to provide, and it's what we're going to advocate on the floor of the House of Commons in the days, weeks, and months ahead.
Kind of the tactic during the campaign as well, and if that message didn't get through to Canadians, as your leader has suggested, what do you need to shift to make sure that those things that you're highlighting are getting through this time?
Well, we believe that everyday Canadians want an alternative that will allow them to work hard, pursue their own dreams, independent of the edicts of politicians and bureaucrats who would and big government. We are the only party that stands for those things. Let me say, there's some that out there that say, you know, the trendy pundits that you bring on CBC to offer their commentary. Often these are brought on as party strategists, the people who've never actually run elections or won elections. They tell us that we need to abandon everything we believe in, that we need to embrace big government, high deficits, and high taxes. We've heard that suggestion. That is the absolute worst thing Conservatives could do. It would be an electoral, political, and economic disaster for the country if we went down that road. So our goal is not to just fit in with the four socialist parties. Our goal will be to stand out as the only voice of taxpayers, as the only voice of fiscal responsibility, as the only voice for hardworking, aspirational entrepreneurs and workers who get out of bed every morning and try to improve their lives by doing the right thing. That is how we will win.
Are there any other questions? Y a-t-il d'autres questions? Olivia?
How do you do all that when there is an internal battle, even within your own party, over your leader, Andrew Scheer?
Well, I think it's by focusing on what's important. You know, I've been to probably a dozen Christmas events this season, and when I go to those events, what are people talking about? They're talking about their lives, and they want us to talk about their lives as well. They want you to report on things that matter to their lives, rather than just on the obsessions of the political class in downtown Ottawa. And the things that matter in everyday people's lives is that their drive to work is longer, their incomes are flat, they're worried about losing their jobs, and we're going to be the single party that stands out in fighting for those people.
Do you support Andrew Scheer?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that? You haven't really mentioned that throughout all these questions that we put to you.
Yes, I have.
Any other questions? Y a-t-il d'autres questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.